Let's first take you through the big result from late last night. In five-time champions Brazil failed to win their opening match at the World Cup for the first time in 40 years as they were held to a 1-1 draw by Switzerland in Group E. A lot of expectation around Brazil, as is generally the case at a major tournament, and you really felt like they needed that big, convincing sort of performance at the start of the campaign just to get the fans on their side. The camp perhaps stopped talking about that 7-1 result from 4 years ago. It wasn't a great performance though, was it?
No, it wasn't. Sometimes you have to give credit to the opposition. I think obviously after 20 minutes and Coutinho scoring that wonder strike, you thought, here we go, this is what Brazil's promised. They've promised some flair and some attacking football, and it just didn't quite happen. But sometimes, like I said, Switzerland, they pressed quite well. They were at it, they were intense. And at the end of the day, they're ranked 6th in the world. They've been ranked lowly now for 3 or 4 years, and everyone's been thinking why they're so low. And I think yesterday they probably showed just why they are ranked 6th, because they're serious contenders to get out the group.
Just to sort of speak about what Switzerland did in this match, because like you mentioned, for 20 minutes Brazil seemed to be going quite well. They had a few early chances. But after that Coutinho goal, the intensity just seemed to drop a little bit, and it wasn't as if Switzerland was sitting back, were they? They had 45% of the ball. Yeah,
I mean, they are a possession-based side normally. They set up with 3 at the back to give them the over numbers in the midfield, if you like, 5 across the middle, so they can outplay people and outnumber people across the middle of the park. They like to keep the ball, so they were never going to keep the ball for the majority of the possession against Brazil, because Brazil's so good. But it just shows, with them having almost 50% of possession, that they are a decent possession-based side, and also off the ball they worked very hard. It was high press, everybody looked energetic, everybody looked fit, and they kept it going for 95 minutes. They didn't take the foot off the pedal once.
A lot of spotlight, of course, on Neymar going into this match, coming back from an injury. He was fit enough to start, but couldn't really impose himself on the game, did he? Switzerland did a great job of keeping him quiet.
They did, and it was a frustrating night for Neymar. Physically, he's not the strongest. He's quite slight. He's still got to try and add that to his game a little bit. He's not the oldest. But he did get roughed up. 2 or 3 times he was outnumbered. Every time he got the ball, there was 2 or 3 players all over him. Obviously, they were physical. They weren't scared to foul him. Could have maybe got a little bit more protection off the referee with 1 or 2 early bookings. But once the referee lets one go, then obviously the Switzerland players were all over him. I think he was fouled 10 times in the game, which is quite a lot.
He was dispossessed 9 times as well, and a lot of that was down to Valon Behrami in the middle of Switzerland's defence. Was he the standout player for you, even though he was subbed off on 72 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of the ball. We know he likes to play on the ball, he likes to come out with it at the back and make combination passes, and he was organising them. But like we said, to lose the ball 9 times, to be fouled 10, obviously adding that up, there's 19 times there's a stop of possession. And if we look at the way it was set up, if you like, obviously we knew Brazil were going to be in a 4-3-3 system, if you like. Switzerland were always going to go with 3 at the back. And the way that the Brazilians lined up, they had obviously Casemiro at the bottom of the 3, Paulinho to the right, and obviously Coutinho, which was brave to play him on the left-hand side of midfield, providing the pass. But it was all about Neymar. Neymar was the one that was trying to get into these positions, but wherever he roamed in these kind of positions, he got the ball. You would see at times the first defender would go and press him. He would get covered by a covering midfield, and you also had the striker back tackling as well. And many occasions you would see that. And if he managed to maybe possibly skip past one, all of a sudden he was faced by another one. You'd have a centre half coming up, and they really did. You could see it was a game plan. Stop Neymar, they was thinking, and you stop Brazil. And for me, Neymar should have learned a little bit from that. He took the bull by the horns every time. He tried to beat 2 or 3 players where he may have just been able to pop it off early one touch, and they could have recycled the ball out the other side and maybe got an overload. So I think he needs to learn a bit. It's not all about him. He's in a team, and sometimes if teams are going to double up, treble up, then just give it to somebody else and let us do some damage elsewhere, because sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself.
Gabriel Jesus obviously has had a great season for Manchester City coming into this World Cup. He struggled to get involved in this game, didn't he? Had very few touches, had to sort of move deep a lot to try and get the ball.
Yeah, and I think that was also, collective part of Neymar keeping hold of the ball. Jesus is fantastic. If we look at him in these kind of positions, Jesus is really good at running down the sides of the centre halves. He's very fast. And to go into these kind of positions, he needs feeding. And that was the idea of Coutinho on his side. When Jesus makes these kind of runs, Coutinho is the one that's supposed to get onto the ball and the one that's supposed to provide the long passes for Jesus, whether it's a long one down the side and looking for his run. But like I say, because the ball went into Neymar so many times, he was neglected a little bit and they didn't play to his strengths.
Okay, just one final thought, and this is on the equalising goal from Switzerland. You weren't very happy with the way Brazil had set up to mark that corner, were you? Can you tell us why?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of zonal marking, and you could see quite clearly the Brazilian players. You know, it's hard to maybe demonstrate on a board, but there's 4 players just inside the 6-yard box, and they're marking space. That only works if you've got 4 defenders that are really committed at attacking the ball, maybe having a run, coming out of their zone. And what they did was allow Zuba to get in between them. He got a little bit of a run, which means your trajectory is a little bit higher. You can jump a little bit higher. Yes, he did nudge him a little bit, possibly a VAR, but the momentum of his run, for me, always gives the attacker the chance. I'm a big believer that defenders have to get body contact. If you get body contact against somebody, they can't get the run on you, and it's more of a contest, more physical. So I think that for me, the setup I don't like.